Hey, everybody, this is Boris Schlossberg. Welcome to the trading battle where the best traders on the internet trade live against each other for fun, profit, and charity. And today I got a very special show today. I have the Battle of the Silvers. The two brothers are going head to head against each other. Austin and Logan Silver are amazing traders, but also brothers. That's going to be something new and interesting that we have on the show. So we are going to open. There goes it's clearly 6 o'clock. The Chicago Mercantile Exchange is open, and we're ready to trade. As you can see, all my alarms going off in the background. Hi guys. Hi Logan. Hi Austin. How's everybody doing? We'll start with Logan since he's new. He's never been on our show. Say hello. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where can people find you? What do you do? And why are you so much better than your brother?
I don't know how to answer the last question yet. We'll have to see the results of this challenge. But I am a head analyst at OBR Investing. It is an online trading community, very similar to Austin's ASFX community. And there I primarily trade crypto and stocks, as well as a little bit of Forex, as that's where I started my career.
Oh, that's really interesting. So you guys have similar trading ideas, but you trade very different assets. And of course, Austin is an old friend of ours. He's been a trader with us several times over, and he, of course, is a specialist in FX, I believe, right?
It's a little bit of everything. I'm doing a lot of Bitcoin and a lot of indices nowadays. But yeah, Forex is where I started too.
For all.
Interesting. Now, just a question for you guys, both of you trading indices. Are you trading? Are you trading through a prop firm? Are you trading indices on a CFD basis, or are you trading indices on the futures basis using Chicago Mercantile Exchange futures? How are you guys trading them?
Logan, you can go first.
I'm primarily trading actually through TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim. I'm trading ETFs on options on the indices.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. And were you trading options or the ETFs? Like, you trading like SPX options or SPX itself?
So I'm trading options on the ETFs of the indices, so SPY, QQQ, things like that.
Right. Interesting. So how long are your typical trades on options? Is it intraday, or do you hold for a couple of days?
All of my trades are primarily intraday.
Intraday. Yeah. Wow. So you really
work from a couple of minutes to a couple of hours.
Okay, so you're just literally you just delta chasing because you obviously if you're trading intraday, you're not that concerned about premium decay or theta or you're just looking for volatility explosions and obviously directionality, right?
Absolutely. I'm also going a little bit farther out in terms of my expiration, so I don't need to worry too much about theta decay.
Interesting, but even though you're holding it for like a couple of hours, so it doesn't really affect you. Do you trade straight up calls and puts, or do you trade any kind of complicated spreads?
I personally do not trade any advanced option strategies right now. I'm just buying calls and puts.
Okay, so basically you're using options as a proxy for the underlying to lever yourself up, and also obviously to have a limited risk exposure, because obviously options they have a built-in stop. You don't have to worry about it. The amount of money you put up is the amount of money you can lose.
Exactly.
Yeah. And what have you been up to lately, Austin? What have you been doing?
So all the trading that I'm doing is still same thing we talked about. What was it, a week or so ago with Nick, the prop trading. So they're making it really easy. It's basically like trading cash on cash, and it's just super easy to take long or short, whatever instruments they're offering. Different firms now are offering different instruments. There's another firm out there we talked about that's offering stocks. I'm not with them. So I'm just trading the indices really. And Bitcoin.
Now,
I had a trade
indices on a CFD basis, right? With these prop firms?
Exactly.
Right. So, and what's your favorite indices to trade?
Right now, US 500 for sure.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. Well, because you're sort of I forget, you're like sort of a 1 trade, 2 trades a day kind of a guy, right?
Exactly. And I'm looking for like general market sentiment. Sometimes you can get caught up, especially with US 30, you can get caught in a lot of chop sometimes. So I find that like US 500 is a much better general market sentiment indicator kind of thing.
It is, but if you're an inveterate gambler like I am, then US 30 is your tool because it has 1,000 points a day range. Today it has 700 point a day range. So It's really good. How were you guys the day today? Or did you guys get along today? Today was a
Yeah,
beautiful
I had a
day.
long on oil, so that I had a nice win on oil today, so that was nice. I mean, the big move was silver. If you weren't long silver from last night, it was like 2, 3 in the morning,
Oh,
it started taking off, bro. It's funny, silver's up 8%, and here we are, the battle of the
that's
silvers,
fine.
right?
You know what? Silver is like one of those things that nobody's paying any attention to because it's been such an
No, and
abject for so
I
long.
think it's a good sign. I think there was a tweet I saw out. Someone posted the long and short. Everybody's long. Everybody's long silver. So I'm curious to know how much higher is it going.
Huh. That's really
Yeah.
interesting. Really
Yeah.
interesting. Huh. And what about you, Logan? What's your favorite instrument these days?
I also am trading. For him, it'd be US 500. For me, it's SPY. SPY is right now my favorite asset to trade. My
Okay.
highest win rate though is on Apple. I do like to trade some individual stocks time to time. Absolutely.
Now, do you trade like how your brother sort of trades like one trade a day, two trades a day, sort of like finds
Mhm.
a setup, takes a setup, gives himself maybe one extra chance, and that's it. What do you do? What's your process like?
There's many days that I actually don't place a trade at all. What I do is I try to find a very high probability setup according to my setup parameters, and I'm just
Okay.
waiting for that. And if it does not come, then I simply don't place a trade.
Okay. Do you ever
So I
steal
mean,
setups from your brother?
I
Do you
do
ever steal?
absolutely. No, absolutely. I have to give some credibility to ASFX. The stuff he has going on over there is amazing. So I do
Okay.
sometimes steal his trades.
Thank you for the credibility. When we were stuck together for the
Cool.
hurricane, and he caught a nice trade on US 500 with me.
Okay. Very
He
nice.
asked me three times if I was going to take the trade with him, and I wasn't going to do it the first two times, but the third time I had to do it.
There you go. He just bullies you like big brothers always bully their little brothers.
That's
In
what
the
I'm
trade.
here for.
That's what you're there for. Okay, so now it's time to stop stealing each other's ideas and actually get
Yeah,
creative and become original because we're going to go to our first challenge of the day, which is take up to 10% of your account on your first trade and choose a trade that's going to you think is going to work best. So I'm actually going to start with Austin because he's used to the pressure. Let's see what he's
I
got on his radar. What's on your charts that
I'm already
you're
ready.
willing to put 10% into?
I'm looking at Bitcoin. I think that it would be a shame for me to miss this signal. So it works out well. I was on a battle with you guys a couple of times ago, and I had a
Mm,
Bitcoin short trade that helped me beat whoever it
mm.
was. I think it might have been Crypto Mickey.
I
It was
remember.
back
I
here
remember. Yeah, that was a
in
great
May,
trade. That was
and
like
it
an
was
awesome
yep, and it
trade.
was this same A2 indicator that we've been doing a lot of back testing for, a lot of studying that told me to be short Bitcoin there. So we're getting the same signal today. So it would be foolish for me to not take this signal and hold on to it for a few days to see if we can get a move lower. Now, that being said, I'm torn between this and silver because I really like silver for shorts here
Wow,
as
look at
well.
that! Look at that ridiculous
Huge bar.
rare.
So I think you're probably going to get some movement to the downside here. So I want to
Right.
do 1 or 2 more minutes of analysis and maybe look at different time frames before I make my
Sure.
decision. I'm either going to short silver or I'm going to short Bitcoin. It's one of those two.
Interesting. So these are all dailies we're looking at, right?
I
The
was
the
looking at the
indicators
day.
are
Yep. This is daily
indicators are
here. So you
daily.
can see the resistance we now have in front of us was set all the way back in May. So that resistance from May is broken here in June, tested again here. I'm not going to forecast that we're going to bump up to 24 anytime soon. So if we're only going to do, a week of trading here, I think we're probably going
Right.
to go back towards 20 before we go to 22. So it could be a good trade for me to look to put 10% short here and then just try to get a pullback towards this 8 EMA, towards
Yeah.
this previous structure point, because that could be a nice chunk of a gain for me. So that's kind of why I'm torn because I see the longer term
Yeah.
move down in Bitcoin, but I see a short
Yeah.
term move down here.
I'm just my own view, and
What do you
precious
think?
metals have been a graveyard for everybody for so long. But this is the first time I've looked at the silver chart in ages,
Yeah,
and looking at it fresh eyes, you got to just buy the dip here. Like look at this. It's an inverted head and shoulders with a higher low over here. It looks like whatever dip happens here, it's going to bust through, and when it does bust through, it's going to like 20, 22, 25.
so you see this
Um,
using
I
like
like that.
the
To me,
the neck
I mean,
line here, almost
maybe you're
like
right.
20.
Maybe you're right that it's corrective to like 20,
Yeah,
1950. But
yeah,
like I'd be a buyer anywhere on the scale down here. It just looks
for
very
sure.
bullish.
Another
Like
good indicator
look at
here
that
too,
basing formation.
and also this really strong bullish divergence has been building.
Yeah,
RSI gaining
exactly.
strength. Yeah,
Like just it's just like I've seen so many charts like this. This chart is screaming exhaustion to me. Exhaustion of sellers and time to really squeeze the
We're taking
shorts.
the Bitcoin, Boris. We're taking the Bitcoin. I'm going to short
Okay,
Bitcoin.
so we're gonna take short Bitcoin. Okay, I think he's stealing your thunder there, Logan. What are you gonna do? You're not
Well,
allowed
it's
to
actually
copy. You're not allowed to copy your brother on this. You got to do me. Got to give me
Logan's going
something.
to long Bitcoin just to spite me.
Go
Tell
long
him
Bitcoin.
Logan.
Yeah, this way, one of the silvers is going to be right. Exactly. This is the true way of trading. Okay.
well, it's hysterical that you guys bring that up because that is exactly what I'm actually looking at doing.
Yeah, do it.
I love it.
So, as you guys are probably aware, Austin's primarily utilizing indicators for his trading. My main strategy.
Don't say that with such disdain. Okay.
Oh, okay. My apologies. My apologies.
Okay.
My main strategy of trading is based around the Elliott wave principle. And
Okay.
right now, I do see the probabilities of us coming higher in Bitcoin due to that. So right now, if anybody's familiar with the Elliott wave principle, I'm expecting a wave 4 retracement. We had a very clear wave 3 down to around this low that we just recently had around 17,400. So off of this weekly support, which we actually are bouncing off of from our high back in 2017,
Right.
I think that there's quite a bit of support at these levels. I think that a bounce is very reasonable, and there's a very stop that I could place. So I think the risk reward on this trade is very favorable for this position, at least over the next 5 days while we're looking to trade.
So you're looking at the ABC wave. Is that the wave 4 that I saw you mark the ABC? So you're looking for the C extension. Is that what you're looking for?
Correct. So up here from our low that we just had down to 17,000, we then had wave A, which you can pretty clearly count a subdivision, wave A here, wave B, and wave C.
Yeah.
Same thing I can see in wave B, wave A down, wave B here, and wave C. For anybody that's not familiar with what I'm doing, I'm counting subdivisions, just making sure that the wave counts line up and the rules are in accordance. And I'm expecting the same kind of movement here that we saw in wave A to the upside, which could bring us up to the 200 daily moving average, which is this blue moving average we have above us here.
Right. Yeah. It's not a bad trade. I mean, like this also smacks of clear exhaustion to the short side. Lots of consolidation. Any kind of a risk flow in the next couple of weeks could certainly pop us up. So not a bad trade. All right. Let's see. It's the indicator versus the Elliott wave. This should be really interesting.
Absolutely.
Let's see who wins.
I like it.
Of course, my partner Kathleen is very famous for saying that it doesn't matter what direction you pick; it just matters how well you trade. Because she started her career on the J.P. Morgan's interbank desk, FX, and she sat between two guys who would constantly take the opposite side of the trade in a pair, and both of them would make money because one would be trading, very short term, scalping it out. The other one would take positional trades, and they would both make money. So.
Trading is direction and timing.
Yes,
definitely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Austin is always good for a quote. Always good.
I'm always good for a good old Jewish proverb for you there. That's written somewhere. That's in the Old Testament.
Is it? Good for you. At least it's a tweet. At least it's a tweet. It's good enough for a tweet. So, generally, I wanted to ask you a little bit about how are you feeling about the markets these days? I mean, it's just been a bloodbath last couple of weeks, right? Today seems to be like the first day where we've had a little bit of breathing space. And of course, the first thing that everybody started asking me is this the bottom? Is this the bottom? Is this the bottom? And I'm like, when it's going to be the bottom? When you stop asking me that it's the bottom, then it's going to be the bottom. But I'm just kind of wondering about you guys. What are you thinking? Is this just simply a short covering rally that can't bounce? We see further lows. What do you think?
I think you're looking at a day here. The bigger picture, things don't seem to be anywhere near the bottom. I think we're closer to the bottom than we are the top, but I don't think we're done yet. That's the way that I feel. And I only say that because the Fed still has interest rate hikes planned. So if rates are going to continue to rise, I don't see how the stocks are going to bounce and miraculously find their bottom. Right. And normally, and I could be wrong in this generalization too, but I would say there's a generalization that there's some type of real capitulation or real serious event before we have the end of this thing. And we haven't really had that yet. You have today talks of Credit Suisse and Deutsche Bank potentially going under because they're holding so much debt and their stock is so low. It's down, I think 40 or 50%, both of them respectively, maybe 60% for Deutsche Bank. It's crazy. So I think there's pieces moving that just say, no way, you can't be bullish right now. It's much better, I think, right now to be a day trader that can sell things like I just sold Bitcoin. You can sell the indices. Right. I think it's much better to be active like that. And then on that, I think the active traders have to be more aggressive in take profit and more aggressive in stop loss. It's just not a time to be greedy. You got to get your nut and you got to get out. It's that kind of a market.
I agree. I love being a day trader always because I never really have to forecast the market. I just have to forecast the market.
Exactly.
And forecasting the day is a lot easier than forecasting the market.
Right.
Ooh,
right.
That's not a bad quote. There we go.
That's not a bad one either. Someone get that on Twitter.
By the way, this is proof that I'm in the city, not in Jersey today, because you can see I'm drinking cart coffee right from downstairs. Yeah. True sign that I am back in New York City. Logan, what do you think? What do you think on the market?
Yeah, I would really echo a lot of Austin's points. I think it is easier to be a day trader in this market. But coming back to my Elliott wave theory, I do think that we will be having a wave forward to the upside, a little bit of a correction, because we have seen, like you brought up, a lot of sellers recently, some incredible selling pressure over the last couple of weeks. I do think that is going to need to see some relief of some kind, but overall, I definitely see us coming lower. On the S&P 500, I see us coming down to around the 3,300 mark. This is, thank you for pulling up my chart. This is the S&P chart, SPY chart, and this is pretty much just removing 1-0 from the actual.
Right.
10. Yeah. Right. Yes. My price target on SPY is from the 335 range to 325. And in the case we see that capitulation event that Austin's referring to, I definitely see us coming down to around the 3,000 level on SPX or 305 on SPY.
Yeah, a lot of people on the street are sort of targeting 3,000. S&P as sort of the collapse level. If you sort of forecasting the 207 to 08 analog, that's where a lot of people see it going in the near term. We'll see how that plays out. Should definitely be interesting going forward. But now, excuse me, it's time to let Lady Luck do a little bit of its business. Our favorite challenge that we always have on Trading Battle, which is spin the wheel, because the wheel is going to spin. It's going to land on an asset, and it's your job to decide whether you want to be long or short that asset. So I think we should do a baptism by fire here for Logan. Let him spin the wheel first.
Just so everybody knows, I did place a short on silver as well.
Okay, cool. So you short both Bitcoin and silver. What'd you do? Did you do a double 10?
Not a double 10. Not a double 10.
Not a double.
Logan's got a good one. This is good. It's funny he got Euro USD because I wanted to talk about this because Euro USD and GBP USD are both at very interesting points right now, and it's tough to say what's going to happen next.
Okay. Well, let your brother talk though. Okay.
Come on, Logan. What you got? Talk. Where are we going on EU?
Okay.
My first thing.
He's the older brother. It's not even funny. I don't think he even lets you have a word edgewise at a dinner table, right?
Of course not. Come on.
No, it usually results in an argument. Absolutely. Just like the results of this battle will for Thanksgiving, I'm sure.
Yes.
My initial thoughts bring me back to the strength of the dollar. Obviously, anybody who's trading financial markets, here, let me pull up the dollar for everybody. The dollar has not stopped. It's been an unstoppable machine pretty much since, let's look back here, let me get rid of my toolbar up here.
It's Joe Biden's dollar. Ever since Joe Biden got elected.
Joe Biden's dollar.
Oh my God, don't start, please. Don't start.
So,
I don't want to get into this. Okay.
I definitely don't want to fight this trend, but it does seem like we are starting to come down a little bit on the dollar. So it really depends how risky I want to be here. I think while Austin's giving his answer, I may be doing some TA on Euro USD to give a more educated opinion. But right now, I'm not entirely sure how I'm feeling about the pair just due to the dollar strength as of recent.
Okay, but it doesn't matter. You have to make a choice.
Am I allowed to do some TA before I make my choice?
Give him a minute. Let's give him a minute.
We'll let how about we'll give the rookie a breathing space to let him do a little TA, and then we'll spin the wheel.
We don't want any excuses here. I don't want any excuses about I got rushed into my analysis. You know what I'm saying?
Let's spin the wheel for Austin. Let's see what comes up for him. Let's see what he's going to do. And I actually do want to talk about euro and pound with you because I think there's some really interesting themes that are developing. So
let's pull a GU right now. Let's pull a GU. Come on, pull a GU.
Let's see.
Don't pull as long as it's not AUD USD. I don't care.
It's 80. It's silver.
Spin me again. Spin me again.
That's true. He already traded something, so we should.
I'm already in it. I'm ahead of the wheel today.
These are ahead of the wheel. Right? You're anticipating the wheel. Oh, that came close. You're at the dollar.
Okay. Maybe we should go opposite directions again.
No, can I get another spin?
I think this is a great trend. I think we should do the trading battle where all the traders take the opposite directions of one, then one of them is guaranteed to win. That's
Now I'm
that's a
getting the one I wanted.
strategy. That's a strategy that will never lose. As long as you hedge both positions. Remember, friends. No, this is please. I am kidding. This is not trading advice, and clearly that's not a good strategy. Okay, Aussie dollar, kind of boring, but what do you think of Aussie dollar?
Well, that was literally the one that I said I don't want because I'm not a big fan of it. So
That's the one
I'm
you
cool
get.
with it though. I like the challenge. I mean, you can see it's broken what was previous support. There's been really no sign of this wanting to move up at all. It looks like since April. So that's very
No,
interesting. It's like a lot of stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's right. Just decimated on risk flows. Absolutely, yes. But
Right.
what do you think?
I just don't think you can be a buyer right now, especially coming off the 8 EMA. Sentiment looks very bearish to me. It's just not a time to be a buyer. So I'm going to sell it.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, keep it simple. I'm not going to try to come in here and call.
No,
I think I would.
You're right. It's the right trade to make. Like the sucker in me would be like, it's held
Buy
at
it.
62.
Buy the bottom, Austin. You would push me over the edge.
Let's see if it bounces. Let's see that. Let's trade for that 1 out of 10 V-shaped bounce. But you're right.
Right.
You sell the moving average.
You sell the moving average. That's the easy trade. Exactly. And
it's
it matches
very funny
sentiment
because Jason Shapiro, who's a great contrarian trader, like on my show on Trader Fast, he said, you know why it works 1 out of 10 times. It works just precisely to make you believe that it actually works. It tricks you. He said 1 out of 10 that if it never worked, you would have never do this trade. But because you have this one lottery hope, you always do this stupid trade.
So you're talking about like a V bottom, calling the bottom.
I'm talking about a V bottom. Yeah, everybody loves the V bottom. V bottom happens 1 out of 10 times, but everybody loves the V bottom.
So if you look at this real quick on my screen, if you want to throw my chart up, if you look at sentiment on a monthly chart back to October of 2014, so literally almost 10 years ago, call it 8 years ago, this is when sentiment went bearish here on the Aussie dollar for the first time since 2004. 2004 is when sentiment was above 50. That's a bullish indicator. So when it flipped bearish
here, what is this sentiment indicator? What is this? Where is this coming from?
This is a moving average coming from the green RSI that you see here. So it's a 21 period RSI with a 34 period moving average applied to it. So it's just an indicator that I learned how to use for sentiment. That was the way it was taught to me. So sentiment goes bearish on a monthly chart here from 2014. Take a look at a weekly chart. Sentiment is bearish now here for the first time, really. You have 2020, it was bullish. 2021, we finally go bearish. So you're bearish on a weekly, you're bearish on a daily. Like I said, it's not a place for me to be a buyer. 4 hour look at, even more to my point, you can look back here, this A2 entry, this is back on the 28th. That's last Wednesday. We're back at that same price and it hasn't moved much from there. So really, I would be looking at something where I could draw a stop loss like this. Let's see. From this low to this high here. And I would be looking for a stop at like 66.17, something like that, looking to short it here. So that's what I'm going to do.
Got it. Interesting. All right. Sounds good. I like this trade. I like the process here.
So I'm short everything. I'm short Bitcoin, I'm short silver, and I'm now going to short AU.
Mr. Short. We just call you Mr. Short.
Mr. Short.
And now we're going to go to Mr. Long. Talk to us.
Long.
Mr. Long.
I am actually not long. For your USD, I am also going to be going short. I appreciate the minute that I got for some technical analysis to get done. And once again, I'm going to resort to the Elliott wave principle. I've identified a clear 5-wave move to the downside. It seems Euro USD just had a wave 4 completion. We are rejecting off of some structural resistance right now. I have my stop loss set above that resistance. First take profit is going to be down at the bottom of this structure point. And then, if we do get some really nice movement over the next couple of days, preferably if we do get some, strong selling pressure, my second take profit will be at the bottom of wave 3 around the 95-cent range.
Okay. So, sorry, the stop again in terms of prices, levels is what?
98,673.
98.76. Okay. Very good. Interesting. Okay. That should be an interesting play. So speaking a little bit about euro and pound, I'm just curious, both regions are obviously a disaster at this point, but the question is who's more of a disaster? And I still think it's the pound versus the euro. Like, I think the UK economy is just like in shambles at this point. And of course, we've had the big retrace from the prime minister today, Liz Truss, which may stabilize the markets for a short period of time. But the UK economy is so levered, so vulnerable at this point that, my view is that I think cable could go to parity. And the point is that in a relative bet, which is what FX is, I kind of like euro pound as an interesting non-dollar trade. What do you think of that?
I'll take a whack at it first, Logan. I don't
Yeah,
know if I would call it a non-dollar trade in my head, just because that's not the way I would look at it. But I would say it's a way to avoid playing with the pound, because I think there's more uncertainty with the pound than there is
yeah,
with the euro dollar. The
right,
dollar seems very strong. And again, I wouldn't be calling a top on that. I don't think you're going to see that slow down. So that's going to
right,
send the euro dollar lower, in my opinion. But the pound, there, like you said, so much confusion there. And
right.
like they just have had this election to have Liz Truss become the prime minister. And I'm seeing
Right.
things already this week saying they're calling for her to resign. People
Yeah,
are, I
I
mean,
think
they do that all the time. So there's just so much
yeah, yeah.
disorganization, I feel like, coming out of the UK sometimes.
There's a-
It's just not a confident place that I would
yeah,
go look
and,
this.
and
You
the
know what I
thing is,
mean?
when investors lose faith in
Right.
your fiscal policy, that's
They'll
when it
see
gets
you.
very dangerous because
Exactly.
it doesn't matter. Because it's what I call the Argentina effect. Because
It's a good point.
it doesn't matter how many interest rate raises you have, they only
Right.
want to demand more and more. It's not a situation where higher interest rates actually cure that. So I think
Right.
I think they're in big trouble.
It's a great
Another
point.
variant of that, which is interesting, is the pound Swiss, to be short pound
Hmm.
Swiss as a trade. What about
Interesting.
you? What do you think of technically on the pound pairs, Logan?
Pound pairs. Yeah, well, the pound's in a really interesting spot right now. We had that vote for FX intervention last week, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
With the political uncertainty going on, that's one of the reasons that I've been able to stay away from the pound and a lot of the FX pairs recently. But again, if you're looking at it for a trade to stay away from the dollar strength,
Right.
really, then I think that it is
Yeah.
a valid idea to be looking at those currencies. Absolutely.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, we're coming up to the end of the show, guys, and it's time for us to do the final challenge, which is just basically place your final trades for the session. Which really, I think these ones, it's up to you whether you want to make them short term or long term. But we're going to mark them to the market 5 days forward. So if there's something long term you really really love as a juicy proposition, feel free to lay it on for me. What do you think, Austin?
I like GU short. That's the one I'm looking at. Maybe putting a short on that as well.
Interesting,
I'm
interesting.
yeah, because
I think it's an interesting idea. I think yen, yeah. Oh, you're talking about the pound short, just pound short. I thought you
Pound short. Yeah, I was thinking pound just because I don't think there's a lot of bullish momentum left in it, even though
right,
it's pushed back off that, close to parity push that it
right,
had. I think that there's just so much uncertainty, so much weakness. I'm not a buyer of it right now. I just can't be. So I
yeah.
think if I'm going to add anything, I'm going to add GU. But I have the 3 positions on already on
And
Bitcoin.
you have the of course your indicator, right? Which is like that's a key part of your process is you have to have an indicator trigger in order for you
Yes.
to seriously
Yeah, it's
consider the
telling me
trade.
that we're at a good price. It's telling me if
Right,
I'm bearish, this is a
right,
good price to get in at a higher price to sell it. That's what it's basically
right.
saying. It's not
So
the only reason to get in a trade. You have to use
right.
other confirmations, but
Correct.
yeah.
But you know what? You know what was like a really interesting attitude. This came from Jason Shapiro, also from Trader Fest. He said the indicator is not there to tell you the trade is good. The indicator is there to tell you not to do a trade until you have it. In other words, it's for you to until you have an indicator signal, you shouldn't be
Yeah.
doing anything.
It's a
And I
great
thought
way to
that was
look
a
at it.
really interesting
It's a
way of
really nice
looking at
way to say
indicators,
it.
which is really smart. I kind of look at my indicators the same way, which is that the best thing I can do is just sit on my hands until I get an indicator signal. That doesn't mean that it's going to be a good one, but until that point, nothing is good because you're just
Yep.
trading randomness.
Yep.
Yeah.
What about you? What about you,
I wanted
Logan?
to,
What do you,
I wanted to quickly elaborate on that, what you guys were just
yeah,
talking about. Austin actually taught me a really valuable lesson that I try to depart on all of the traders that I try to help, which is the grading system idea. And like you were just saying, your bot may present that there is an entry available, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it fits all of your rules and the timing is right, the volume is right. So having a grading system really does help, I think, when it comes to things like that.
right.
To answer your question,
Well,
when it comes
I was always a straight A student in high school. How about you? I'm just kidding.
to we try to be.
Okay.
In terms
I
of the
took the
trade that
short, everybody. I took the short, just so everybody knows. I'm short
You
GU.
took the short. Okay, you got
I'm
it.
in the short.
Beautiful.
I'm also
That-
short euro dollar.
You
Okay.
short your dollar. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You guys.
Um,
So wait. So you short your dollar, but like, what about that? That was for this for the spin the wheel trade, no?
Yes.
So
Yes. Sorry, I thought that
now,
Austin was also referring to that.
so now we have like one final trade from you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to add any other trades, Logan, this is your last call. That's why
Got it.
I'm
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
you know what?
What were you going to say?
I was saying, you know what? This is a signal, and it's a really good price. Where we have the whole week to hold this trade. Chances are I'm going to be able to get out of it at worst in profit. If it doesn't tank for me in the next 2 days, I'll probably be able to escape out of it pretty nicely, either at even or down a little bit. So that's why I'm like, this is worth it to me. Same thing with Bitcoin. So if you've got another good signal,
I
give me the
do.
game, because I'm
I
here
do.
to win. Boris knows I got 4 good positions on there.
Oh, he's just really, really, really playing mind games with you. Go ahead, talk to me, Logan. Ignore your
I'm
brother.
sure that's his tactic for sure. I did have a very nice trade setup that I think I'm going to act on here on oil, crude oil. I'm looking at USO USD.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah,
I
I
like
want to participate in this price action. We've seen oil fall the last couple of days. Obviously,
Right.
today we had a 5% day. This kind of
Yeah.
coincides with Austin's silver trade as well.
Yeah.
Right.
But overall, I'm expecting us to continue downtrending in this channel that we've been in over the last couple of weeks, months.
I like it.
I do think oil is going to make another push to the upside, considering the geopolitical events going on around the world are not really subsiding. In my opinion, it seems they might start to get worse. But at least in the short term, I'm looking to capitalize on this downward price action that we've been able to see in crude oil over the last couple of weeks.
I'm uber bearish oil, so I like that kind of a shoot. That's interesting. Very
I
nice.
We all then agree it's going to 60 before it goes to 100, right?
Yeah, I think
so.
so. Well, so it's close enough. So definitely lower than higher before.
Not financial advice, but close enough.
Not financial advice, but just speculation, intelligent speculation.
Speculation.
Anyways, guys, let's wrap it up by telling everybody who you guys are trading for. Logan, who's the charity that you're trading for?
I'm trading for the Guardian Foundation. This is a organization, a charity that goes against, the Guardian Group, rather. This is a organization that fights against human trafficking in the United States. It's my biggest charity. I love them. And yeah.
No, that's a great cause. It's a great cause. Absolutely. And what about you? What about you?
I'm doing it for the animals, Boris. I think I'm still doing it with the animal charity, the wildlife. Yeah, the WWF.
The Wildlife Fund, is that the Wildlife Organization?
It's worldwildlife.org or something like that. Yeah, they just put the link in the chat. Yeah. So still just going to keep throwing the money to them.
Are you a pet owner, Austin?
Of course. Of course.
He says that a silly question. I just want to make sure.
Of course I'm a pet owner. If you're not a pet owner, I think you have no soul. Come on.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Anyways, looking good, you guys. Looking at the scoreboard, obviously it's early Asia opening hours, so not much is settling out. But to wrap it up, basically, this is Austin. He's short Bitcoin, correct?
I'm short everything. Short AUD.
Short everything. That's easy. He's Mr. Short. He's just Mr. Short. Just call him Mr. Short. Although he's tall in stature, but short in position. So short silver, short pound, short Aussie, short Bitcoin. Interesting. And Logan is short euros, long Bitcoin. And what was your third trade, my friend? Well, he's still
going to be short crude oil right now.
Oh, short crude oil. That's right. We like the oil. We like the oil. That's a good trade. So this is going to be very interesting. Absolutely, guys. Follow up with us 5 days from now. We're going to be able to mark to the market. Let's see if Austin can maintain his winning streak, or whether his brother knocks him off his pedestal and puts a little bit of humble pie on him finally, because he's been winning too much on the trading battle. As for you guys, please subscribe and follow us. As you can see, we're going to make trading battles even more exciting and more intense, and hopefully you guys learn a lot more. And I will see everybody, of course, for the next trading battle. Guys, the Silver Brothers. It's been a big rally for silver, and it's been a very bullish first-time performance for both of the Silver Brothers today. Very, very nice to have you guys. Peace out. I'll see everybody later. The Sports Schlossberg for the trading battle. Over and out.